Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
The thing is, like, we're getting the rumors from the internet, and
Right.
the internet thinks that the Taliban took out that bridge in Baltimore. So it's like, who fucking knows? Who knows what's real?
That's what Diddy's lawyers, I think, said. It was like that these are just trumped up charges. Not trumped up, I don't think they said that, but like bullshit charges.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right? You know who said?
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when he broke down exactly who from CBS might end up behind bars, all because Diddy could potentially snitch to save himself. With new evidence emerging every day and speculations running wild, Joe recently sat down for a podcast episode where he discussed the entire Diddy case and hinted at some shocking names that could be next on the chopping block. One name that really stood out to Joe was Uncle Steve Harvey. There's been wild speculation that as soon as Steve heard about Diddy's indictment, he hopped on the first flight out of the country. The rumors suggest he may have been an active member of Diddy's parties, and Steve has been cleaning up his social media, removing anything related to Diddy. He even deleted an old tweet from 2017 where he praised Diddy, calling him a brother, who's doing good for kids. Well, that tweet certainly didn't age well. Let's not forget, Steve allegedly pushed his daughter, Lori Harvey, into Diddy's arms when she was just 22. At the time, Steve acted like everything was fine, hanging out with Diddy and Lori on vacation in Italy, presenting it all as one big happy family. What's even more disturbing, however, is a photo where Lori is seen wearing white nail polish. If you've been following Diddy's case, you know just how troubling this is. In her lawsuit, Cassie stated that she and every woman involved with Diddy were forced to wear white nail polish, so it would contrast with the bodies of the black ex-workers during disturbing events he allegedly recorded. Even Young Miami and Diddy's mom were spotted with white nails. This has led some to question whether Steve was cozying up to Diddy for Hollywood power. If Diddy starts talking, we might find out exactly why Steve left so suddenly. Meek Mill has also been eerily quiet since Diddy's arrest, which is suspicious considering their history. Let's not forget that infamous video of Meek in a pool, calling Diddy daddy and professing his love for him. At the time, we thought it was all just jokes, but now things are starting to look real suspicious. Meek Mill has been laying low. In Africa, riding dirt bikes and tweeting out cryptic messages like he's trying to avoid the heat. He even offered $100K to anyone who could help him investigate who's behind the whole Meek-Diddy connection. However, the internet is all over him, claiming he's just doing damage control and can't escape the fallout because there's too much evidence stacking up against him. There's been talk that Meek might be involved in some of the footage the feds uncovered, and if that's true, it's only a matter of time before his name gets dragged into the mess. He's out here acting like he has no idea what's going on, but we can all see the game he's playing. Usher is another.
If you don't mind me asking, because I know the topic is sensitive, what happened to Usher?
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not gonna speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
Where did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when somebody say, yo, man, I don't F with this, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened. So, and just to hear this, and this new thing where they saying that they got kids coming forward and said that he did that, man, that shit is crazy.
One who recently scrubbed his entire Twitter page. Back when Usher was just 13, he was part of Diddy's Flavor Camp. Now, there are numerous videos of people claiming they saw Diddy put Usher in the hospital after a disturbing encounter between them. The plot thickens, for sure. And let's not forget that bizarre moment when Kevin Hart interviewed Diddy, and Diddy casually mentioned waking up in bed with Usher. At the time, people just laughed it off as another wild Diddy story, brushing it aside like it was no big deal. But looking back now, given all the disturbing developments in the case, that moment seems way more unsettling. If Usher really was caught up in any of those disturbing freak-offs Diddy allegedly filmed, he might want to lawyer up. The more this case unfolds, the more it's starting to feel like those seemingly innocent comments and past events might have a much darker context than anyone realized at the time. No one's laughing now. Another name that could potentially go down with Diddy is Jay-Z. The two have been tight for years, working on business ventures, attending billionaire parties, and pretty much running the game together. But here's where things get a bit sketchy. There have been rumors for some time now that Diddy might know something about the whole Kathy White situation, the woman who was allegedly Jay's mistress and ended up unlived after reportedly getting pregnant by him. Diddy and Jay-Z have been close for far too long for there not to be some dirt buried between them. And now, with everything coming to light, it's starting to feel like there might be more to their friendship than meets the eye. Jaguar Wright even went as far as to say that Jay-Z is just as bad as Diddy in a recent interview with Piers Morgan, claiming he has countless bodies, as in people, not actual bodies, but people who've been hurt or affected by his actions. If Diddy has any tapes or evidence linking Jay to the disturbing activities he's allegedly been involved in, whether it's the freak-offs or something even worse, it could completely shake the music industry to its core. Jay-Z better hope that Diddy stays quiet, because if Diddy decides,
from day one, we used to wake up and, pause, but like that's how, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was
to speak out, it could be game over for him. The entire narrative around these men could change in an instant, and all their carefully built empires could come crumbling down. Remember that strange moment when Diddy sang "Happy Birthday" to French Montana and the two were both covered in baby oil? At the time, it seemed like just another bizarre but harmless celebrity moment. But now, knowing that the feds raided Diddy's house and reportedly found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, that moment is looking hella weird. What was all that baby oil for? Why would Diddy have such an insane quantity of it? Given the disturbing revelations that are coming out about Diddy's alleged activities, people are starting to connect the dots between these strange behaviors and the broader picture. The baby oil suddenly doesn't seem like just a random prop for a quirky birthday celebration. It feels like there might be a deeper, much darker reason behind it. Could this be linked to the disturbing freak-offs and the questionable practices that have been hinted at in various testimonies and lawsuits? The timing of this baby oil discovery alongside all these mounting allegations makes that bizarre birthday moment take on a completely different, sinister light. What once seemed like an odd but funny celebrity encounter now feels like a piece of a much larger, unsettling puzzle. The more details that come out, the less innocent everything starts to look. This one might surprise you, but LeBron James might not be as far removed from this mess as you'd think. LeBron and Diddy have been spotted together at numerous parties, rubbing shoulders in the same high-profile circles. And let's not forget that LeBron is no stranger to the Hollywood scene. He's been part of it for years, building a massive presence beyond just basketball. Now, I'm not suggesting that LeBron was out here doing anything shady, but when you look at Diddy's lifestyle and the crowd he surrounds himself with, it's hard not to question who might have been involved in some of these wild and disturbing events. Diddy has been linked to so many controversial figures, and his parties have been the subject of intense speculation. Given LeBron's star status and the level of access he has to some of these scenes, it raises the question, how close was he to some of the darker aspects of that world? Sure, we've seen LeBron as a family man and a businessman, but when you have a guy like Diddy, who's deeply entangled in so much scandal, constantly in your circle, it's hard not to wonder what kind of influence might have been at play. Is it possible that LeBron just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or was he a little too close to the fire for comfort? As more details come to light about Diddy's alleged activities, the connections between him and other celebrities, like LeBron, could start raising even more questions about how deep this whole mess runs. Then there's Jennifer Lopez, who's been implicated in some wild allegations. It's said that she might have helped Diddy frame Shine, the rapper who was involved in a shooting incident at a nightclub years ago. Some have even suggested that J-Lo played a role in manipulating the situation to protect Diddy's image. And speaking of shady actions, Rick Ross allegedly put a hit out on his wife, Tia Kemp, because she supposedly knew too much about Diddy's messy dealings. If these allegations are true, it paints a picture of a web of secrecy and manipulation that could reach far deeper than anyone expected. Then there's Beyoncé. People have long speculated that she knows some of the dirt about Diddy, but has kept quiet, possibly out of self-preservation or loyalty to the industry. Her silence has fueled speculation about what she might be hiding or protecting, considering the powerful circle she's in. But it's not just the black celebs who might get caught up in this. There are whispers that several white celebs could also end up facing legal scrutiny. Take Ashton Kutcher, for example. Ashton and Diddy were reportedly tight, especially when they worked together on MTV's Punk'd. What's wild is that in interviews, Ashton mentioned that Diddy once told him he was off limits when it came to pranks. That statement seems odd, right? Why would Diddy single him out like that? Could it have been because Ashton knew something, or maybe was being protected from certain things going on in Diddy's world? All of this starts to suggest that there's a much bigger picture here, one that involves a lot of high-profile names from every corner of the entertainment industry, not just the black celebrity circle. The fact that so many people, whether friends, collaborators, or bystanders, might have been involved or aware of Diddy's actions raises the stakes. The question now is, who else will be dragged into this mess, and how deep does it really go?
Choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been.
At first, Ashton Kutcher's comment about being off limits for pranks may seem innocent enough, but when you place it in the context of Diddy's notorious wild parties and the chaotic world he's been linked to, it raises some serious questions. What was Ashton really keeping quiet about? Could it be that he knew more than he let on and didn't want to get caught up in the madness? If Ashton was privy to some of Diddy's behind-the-scenes dealings, his silence might have been more about self-preservation than just avoiding a prank. Now, let's talk about Ellen DeGeneres. Back in 2016, she made a birthday post for Diddy and referred to him as Cuddle MC Snuggle Stuff, adding, "You don't need to know why." At the time, it probably seemed like a harmless joke, but with everything that's come to light about Diddy's freaky lifestyle, that nickname now seems to have a much darker undertone. Given the serious allegations surrounding Diddy's behavior, it's hard not to wonder, was Ellen hinting at something deeper, something we didn't understand at the time? And considering all the scandals that have surfaced about Ellen herself, over the last few years, allegations about her toxic workplace environment and questionable behavior, it's hard to ignore the possibility that she knows more than she's letting on about the shady side of Hollywood. With everything coming to light about Diddy's inner circle and the bizarre activities he's allegedly been involved in, Ellen might want to reconsider staying silent. If she knows something, the public might soon demand answers. At this point, it's not just about innocent jokes anymore. The context makes it look like there's a lot more to the story than meets the eye. Another name that has come up in connection to this mess is Justin Bieber. There are allegations that Bieber might be working with the feds to expose everything that happened to him behind the scenes in the industry. For years, people have speculated that Bieber was one of Diddy's victims, and now there's a growing sense that he might be ready to speak out about it. Recently, Bieber opened up about the darkness of his past, revealing how out of control things had gotten. He even admitted that he didn't know if he'd still be alive if he had continued down the path he was on. These comments shed light on just how damaging the pressures of fame and the toxic culture of the industry can be.
Hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you.
Especially when they're Are powerful people like Diddy allegedly involved in the mix? Bieber's history in the spotlight has always been filled with ups and downs, but the more he shares about his struggles, the more it seems like he's hinting at some deep trauma. If Bieber truly was a victim of the industry's darker undercurrents, particularly involving figures like Diddy, it would explain a lot about his emotional and psychological battles over the years. Now that he's beginning to open up about his past, it raises the question, is Bieber finally ready to expose the truth? And if so, what will that mean for Diddy and others who might be involved in this web of secrecy and manipulation? Bieber's potential testimony could change the entire narrative, and it's clear that the dark side of the industry might have more victims than anyone realized. If he's working with the authorities, it might be just a matter of time before we get a clearer picture of what really happened behind closed doors. As expected, the reactions to all of this have been mixed, with everyone having an opinion on the situation. One user jokingly pointed out, "Elon Musk didn't just buy a social media platform, he bought a crime scene," laughing off the chaos unfolding. But another user had a much more serious take, saying, "When Jay-Z, Beyonce, J-Lo, Oprah, Usher, Kevin Hart, and the Kardashians all have trial dates set, then I'll believe justice is actually being served." This raises a big question. Are these major names truly safe? Or could we see some of Hollywood's biggest stars dragged into the mess with Diddy? With everything coming to light, it's hard to imagine that these A-listers are immune from being called to answer for their potential involvement or knowledge of Diddy's alleged actions. And let's not forget the big question: if Diddy starts snitching, who's going to be the first to fall? The stakes are high, and the game is shifting in a way that could turn the entire industry upside down. Could we see high-profile figures who've been hiding behind their fame suddenly exposed? It's clear that a lot of people are starting to feel the heat, and if Diddy decides to talk, things could get very messy, very quickly. What do you think? Who will be the first to get caught in this whirlwind, and will anyone truly be safe? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click on the next video. It's just as wild.